It's Viktor Gyökeres again. You know, like earlier in the transfer window in the beginning of June, basically, in fact, even from May, reports had it, especially from, top-notch reporters and journalists like Fabrizio Romano, Ben Jacobs, and even David Ornstein about, Viktor Gyökeres wanting to come to Manchester United. His preference is Manchester United. He wouldn't mind coming. All the news that flew around with regards to basically before the Europa League final, that it doesn't matter if we win the Europa League final, he's already agreed that he's going to come to Manchester United and everything. And then there was the drama behind that, and we're like, oh yeah, we're a big club, we're attracting big players and all of that, despite the fact that we didn't have Champions League and we're bantering other clubs even in our banter era and all that. And the next thing, you come to June, when transfer window starts, Manchester United quickly just secures Matheus Cunha. He says he wants to come, he loves the club and everything. And the next thing, we're having a situation where basically Matheus Cunha signs and everybody's expecting, okay, this is going to be an attraction for other players. We're going to do Cunha, we're going to do Mbumo, and then we're going to definitely do Viktor Gyökeres, and our front three will be secured. And the next thing, we can now focus on midfield and wing backs, as well as, with the rumors, goalkeeper. But obviously things started to kind of take a turn just around the time of the Club World Cup, when his agent had issues with the president of Sporting, and Viktor Gyökeres said, he's definitely not going to play for the club again and all of that. He's not going to play for Sporting again and everything in between. It just was not sitting well with a lot of fans, because it now became like a drawn-out saga. There's issues back and forth with the club president. There's issues back and forth with the agent and all of that. Now, Viktor Gyökeres says, okay, his agent comes out and says, or maybe through intermediaries, comes out and says, his priority is Arsenal. He's going to Arsenal and all of that. Mind you, Arsenal were negotiating with, or we're having advanced negotiations with Benjamin Sesko. And they had Gyökeres on pause, and Sesko, just kind of like in the forefront of their striker, choice and all of that. Boom. Man United said, okay, we're pulling out of that deal, we're not going for him again, we're moving to other options. Despite the fact that we've heard, Fabrizio kept saying Man United keeps calling on a daily basis. They also said stuff like, Man United wants to be kept abreast of the situation. Obviously, we all know what that sounds like and everything. But when big guys are carrying it, like Ben Jacobs and stuff, then you can tell that there is some credibility to it. And then basically he says, his priority is Arsenal, he's going to Arsenal, and then he was going to revolt, never coming back to the club and all of that. And things took a turn. It felt like, okay, we're out of that. The Man United desire kind of cooled down a little bit. For me to wake up this morning, and basically in the last 3 to 4 hours, Viktor Gyökeres has said he would prefer to come to Manchester United. And I'm like, is this guy really serious right now? Like, are we a joke to him? Because I felt like he was basically a backup. I mean, he was seeing Manchester United as a backup plan, because Fabrizio Romano came out to say that Viktor Gyökeres is going to go to Arsenal, and Man United kept in contact with him. And then the same Fabrizio Romano came out and said that the negotiations are advancing. And then other reporters came out and said, that the Viktor Gyökeres deal is on hold. I'm like, what is actually going on? Now, another person that I've been kind of seeing some of the things he posts lately, Marco Alcaraz, he says Man United remain in daily contact with Viktor Gyökeres camp. The club have not given up hope of signing him, and the player remains open to a move. He has not rejected Manchester United. Meanwhile, the same Marco Alcaraz reported before that his priority is Arsenal. If someone says my priority is Arsenal, it might mean multiple things. You might not just you cannot just come up you cannot just kind of say oh, it is outright rejection, and you can also not say it is not rejection. It could be that I would prefer a move to Arsenal. And TEAMtalk also said that Viktor Gyökeres views Manchester United as one of the most illustrious clubs in the world in world football. We all know that it's given. It's a given that Man United is one of the most illustrious clubs in the most valued clubs in the world in world football. But he also believes that they will soon return to competing for European competitions and major trophies. Yeah, what does that have to do with the transfer? So you wake up this morning and the guy is trending and he's saying stuff like, oh, he would prefer to come to Arsenal and all of that. I'm like, yeah, I'm not having it. Then United lawyer says Viktor Gyökeres has now informed Manchester United that he wants to join them in the summer, and that's according to TEAMtalk again. Then Fabrizio Romano comes out and says, oh, Viktor Gyökeres never rejected Arsenal, rejected Man United, that he always wanted Man United. He's basically he has basically said he has basically said, oh, that he's going to he has basically not just rejected Man United. That's pretty much what Fabrizio Romano says, and I think he's featured in some podcasts and all of that. So I'm still trying to understand. I am just trying to understand what is actually going on with this whole Gyökeres situation, because if Gyökeres wants to come to Man United, you had better come to Man United. You had better choose or decide what you want. And I think part of what the issue is with him is that his his agent keeps kind of peddling a few things and saying a few things and all of that. So it kind of ruins the whole thing and brings it up to a full blown out transfer saga. But like I always say, I don't think Man United will pull the deal off. It's quite expensive, and now we are his backup plan, and I don't feel like he desperately wants to come to Man United. He might be saying positive things about Man United because he's got to a situation where Arsenal might be negotiating with Benjamin Sesko, and based on an update on Benjamin Sesko, it has been reported that Fabrizio Romano actually screenshotted Benjamin Sesko following Arsenal. So the deal is advancing. It's taking shape. And once a player starts doing that, there's a high chance that the person will move, right? So if Arsenal gets Sesko, then we are kind of like, going to be his option for especially when it comes to Viktor Gyökeres. And United Stand was also reporting this, according to Fabrizio Romano, that Viktor Gyökeres never rejected Man United, but he told Man United that the priority would be Arsenal. So let us follow the situation. Yeah. And which means that Gyökeres hasn't told United he wants to join them. Boom. So it's like, you have to think about these things from perspective of, you as a fan, and also the player and what the player wants and all that. He has not said no to Arsenal. He said his priority is Arsenal, and he has also not said no to Man United. But now it looks like his options are already kind of slim, and he's already having issues back and forth. And it's not, and I don't think that most clubs will want to touch that deal or want to move for that deal. But I think I'm pretty much fed up with Viktor Gyökeres and the situation. If he wants to come. If you don't want to come, it is what it is. If he comes, we'll back him. If he doesn't come, we'll move on to other things. I'm just absolutely tired of the situation with Viktor Gyökeres, and yeah, it is what it is. But let me know your thoughts and feelings about in the comment section about this Viktor Gyökeres situation. Do you want Viktor Gyökeres to come to Manchester United, or do you feel like you're done? Because I feel like we've pulled out of the deal, but they said he's been in constant conversation with Rúben Amorim. I don't know. I think our front two or our front three is kind of sorted, because if you look at the two players that we're signing, Bryan Mbeumo, and we've signed Matheus Cunha, they played with a striker and they played as strikers. So, for example, Matheus Cunha has played as a striker all his life, and he's playing as a 10 as well. So, one of maybe the left 10 and Bryan Mbeumo the right 10. So, they can play across the front three. So I feel like it doesn't matter the kind of striker we have up front. We can play with Joshua Zirkzee, we can play with Rasmus Højlund this season, and it doesn't matter, and we'll still get goals. But yeah, everybody wants Man United to get a striker. For me, I would say let's just stay away from this Viktor Gyökeres situation, because what happens when things get bad for him at Man United? Will he revolt? Will he like, these are the things that we have to think about. But it's all good. We're gonna just be keeping track of all things that are going on in transfer window, and we'll keeping you updated. But yeah, I'm just kind of tired of this Viktor Gyökeres situation. We're gonna see how it goes, and we're gonna keep track of it. Whatever happens, we'll report it to you and all of that. Let me know your thoughts and feelings in the comment section, and I'll see you on the next one. Thank you so much for liking, sharing, and subscribing. We'll continue to grow. We'll continue to hit milestones and by milestones every week, and I really appreciate all of you. And we're going to go on this journey together. And pretty soon, once we get, traction properly, we're going to definitely invite people on the channel, and we're going to have conversations and build, momentum in this community. But thank you so much for liking, sharing, and subscribing. Thank you so much for following us on all our social media platforms. We'll continue to grow together. I'll see you on the next one. Take care, goodbye, and God bless.